So, every year I try to think of something to say, and this year I didn't even think I'd be coming up here because of COVID. So I didn't put a lot together, because probably the strangest year in my life, probably the strangest year in your life, for many reasons. So I started thinking about Thanksgiving, which besides 4th of July, is our biggest non-religious holiday. And unlike 4th of July, I never went to my grandmother's for dinner and sat around the table with my entire family on 4th of July, but I did on Thanksgiving. So it harkened me back to the first inhabitants that came over. You know, no taxis, no planes, no steamships. Came over on little teeny tiny ships, packed to the gunnels with everything they had, looking for amnesty. Kind of rings a bell for today, doesn't it? Amnesty. They were fleeing oppressive and terrible lives. And they came here to our shore for a new life. And did they survive? No, they perished. Each colony perished. It took a long time. They weren't farmers. They weren't blacksmiths. They were cobblers and they were shopkeepers. They didn't know how to grow anything, let alone know what time of the year to plant it. So because of a handout of kindness from the people that were here for thousands of years, that knew the seasons, that knew how to sow, that knew how to weave, that knew how to plant, theoretically sat down at a table. And it doesn't really matter if it actually happened or not, because I'm sure there were a lot of friendly interactions, so it did happen. But it doesn't matter. It's the moral value of Thanksgiving. It's what we take from it. And what we take from it, especially now this year, what we need is kindness. It is a helping hand. The millions of people out of work, the millions of people that don't have anything to eat for Thanksgiving. So, as I always start, and I need to digress and talk about the 6 guys that started this, so let me digress a second. First people up here 8 or 9 years ago now. Eric, how many years?
12 or 11.
12 years.
Yeah, we're 12.
It was Eric DeCole.
This is year 11.
Eric DeCole and his pirate crew from the garage. Will was one of the first. He's here. Kurt Gensheimer, Jason Sheehan, Chris and Mike Johnson, Phil Tinsman. That was it.
And defaults.
Were you here first?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Oh my gosh, I forgot you.
And defaults. That was the start of it. And from there it grew to our biggest group, which was like 112 people one year.
Woo!
But that was digressing. So thank you, Eric and Will, for starting this wonderful tradition. And Dee, thank you for this wonderful tradition.
Easily forgotten. That's
So
okay.
back to the morals. The morals of Thanksgiving. You know, every year I say the same thing. Accident of birth. We're the luckiest people in the entire world that's ever lived on the planet, ever in history. And I don't just mean everybody, I mean us at the top, and every year, the us at the top. The luckiest people in a community. Community, it's like Thanksgiving every day. Giving, thoughtful. Everybody here would give their last dime to their friends if they had it. They'd help them with their bikes, they'd help them with their families, they'd help them with in any way they could. So that's why Thanksgiving, regardless if it's a Hallmark holiday or not, is so important, and especially this year. So be happy you're here. Remember, it's later than you think in life. Hug your family, hug your kids, talk about your past, talk about where you came from. We're all immigrants. My mother was an immigrant, so I'm a first generation of color here in the United States. Be happy and be thankful, and don't make it where it's too late that you haven't done those things. You haven't called your aunt or your old best friend who's now back east somewhere. Do it today. It's a day of Thanksgiving. And thank you all so much.
Nice job, Jack.
Thank you,
Love you
Jack.
all.